Hey folks, today's video is sponsored by the good people at BetterHelp, and here's what BetterHelp does. Sometimes something could be preventing you or me or anyone from being happy, from being productive, and from reaching our goals. In my life, that problem was anxiety, constant worry, never being able to turn my brain off, thinking I was smart enough to analyze and know myself, but not having any strategies to work my way out of those thought holes it would put me into. But BetterHelp can help you out of situations like that or whatever it is that you're dealing with. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, and you can start communicating with that therapist within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line, and it's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise in BetterHelp's 20+ thousand therapist network, which may not be locally available in many areas. This service is available for clients worldwide. You can log in anytime you want and message your therapist and get a reply quickly and efficiently from the comfort of your own home or from your mobile device. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as you would with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change therapists if that's what you need. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available for those who qualify. Look, BetterHelp wants you to start living a better life today. So join the over 1 million people who have tried it out and go to betterhelp.com/smokingtire or hit the link in the description to get matched up with your own licensed therapist today. Because there's no reason you have to spend time in that mental hole and not being the person you really can be if you just got a little bit better help. So go to betterhelp.com/smokingtire, and thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. Hey folks, welcome to the Aston Martin Vantage F1 edition. I mean, marketing edition. No, I'm just kidding. That's mean, but also kind of accurate. F1 edition.
Right. Well, So Aston Martin got the contract this year to be the F1 pace car and the F1 medic car.
It's safety car.
Safety car.
Excuse me. It's safety car in Formula One.
Okay.
And so they had to make a safety car. And usually the safety car is like kind of hot rodded a little bit. Mm-hmm. Can't have, because when you're leading Formula One cars, 23 extra horsepower really makes an enormous difference.
Right.
You have to that's like, I'm going to my first track day. I need an ECU tune. That's the same thing.
Because the car normally has 505.
Right.
So it's like, no, that's not fast enough to stay. This extra 23 will keep them in front of the F1 car.
You must stay in front of the F1 car while it's running pace car speeds.
Right.
So the F1 edition, and we make fun, but F1 edition, it's just not a great name. It
doesn't roll off the tongue. There are more changes to the car than just the 25 horsepower, of course.
A big list of them, in fact. They've done things. It's not that they haven't done things. We're not saying they haven't done things. But the badging that says F1 edition is a little...
They gotta sell cars.
Yeah.
They gotta sell cars.
But they have, like Zach said, they've done things. So it's got 24 extra horsepower, same torque, 505 torque, now has 527 horsepower from the AMG sourced 4-liter twin-turbo V8.
Right.
The 8-speed ZF transaxle has been updated with better software for quicker shifts, less reduction in torque. That's a negative, double negative. They leave more torque going to the gearbox between the shifts.
Right.
It cuts the torque less when you change gears, and more aggressive downshifting. They did 10% stiffer rear springs, and they revised the adaptive shocks for better rebound. What that means is, in theory, when you have a stiffer suspension, if the shocks are revised for better rebound, they compress the same but rebound in a more refined way. In theory, getting rid of some of the bounciness that I complained about with the regular V8 Vantage, right?
Right.
They've messed with the front suspension, so you've got a bit more negative camber, leading to better turn-in.
Now, could you say that as There's
more
less
negative.
camber.
Yeah,
There's less. They've
more
reduced
negative
camber.
So they've reduced camber,
by
which
0.5
somehow
degrees.
making it more.
Right.
Reducing camber actually makes it more there.
Yeah.
You've got lots of double negatives in this car.
There are.
They've recalibrated the e-diff, electronic differential, so that it overdrives the outside wheel less than the other car. And we've got 21-inch wheels with P0 tires, optional carbon ceramic brakes. There's a new front splitter, a big wang in the back, which is a 200% improvement in high-speed downforce.
Well, it makes 440 pounds of downforce, which is that much more than the original car.
That's 200% more.
However, at 195 miles per hour.
Well, that matters.
But below that,
it's proportionally less.
Right.
It's not like there's a speed by which it makes less downforce than the other car.
No, that's true.
But like there is drag also, so you need the 24 extra horsepower to compensate for the downforce at the highest speed. Right. The base price is $165,000. This one is $177,000, I think.
Yes,
and,
correct.
It's a $23,000 premium over the regular V8 Vantage.
Well, this one has optional carbon ceramics, and the only options it has are the brakes and a $2,000 stereo system, which we can't demonstrate here, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
it's pretty clear and pretty.
Who makes their stereo?
Aston Martin Premium Audio.
Oh, that's it.
That's all it says.
Oh, okay.
But it sounds very good.
All right. Zach is going to drive first because he's had a little more seat time in this car than I have. We have a glut of press cars this week, so he will go down. I will go up.
Okay, I'm going to go down. I will drive it in sport suspension and sport for engine. And when you come up, you can change it, and we'll see what the differences are. Let's do that.
Sure.
And it's a wet day.
It is. We've got British weather for the British car.
We do.
Got a lot louder once you started revving the engine, Zachary.
It does get a lot louder, and this road's a little loud, but I think the car is doing a decent job of quieting all of these terrible cracks. Considering, they stiffened up pretty much everything. Both of us were remarking on the ride up that the ride is pretty good. On LA's terrible roads, over expansion joints and stuff. Like, it's a pretty chill place to be.
My chief complaint with the standard car was an unrefined ride for $160,000. I found that the ride, compared to something like a 911 or even compared to the AMG GTC, was a little bit bouncy, especially on roads that were less perfect. And we're up here on this particular road, which we have chosen because it is not perfect tarmac. It is kind of bumpy. Good place to test it out. Initially, I am kind of impressed that they've managed to make it stiffer without making it sloppier.
Yes.
And have we caught traffic. That didn't take very long, did it, Zach?
We might have to.
That's okay. Flip around. You can go up, and I'll go further up.
I'll do that.
This is, that's... If I was going to work this way right now, I would be mildly frustrated. Inside here is fundamentally the same.
Yes.
Other than this F1 edition badge that looks like it was ordered on eBay. It's a lot of black. It's a kind of a cave in here, isn't it?
It is, and that's one of my complaints about the original Vantage where I drove it, not the original, the early one, is just so many of these buttons look the same and there's not much color, so it's hard to identify them. Like literally all of these buttons are the same shape as these. Even
the temperature control knobs, like it's actually a little difficult to identify which one controls temperature and which one controls the fan. Yes. The temperature, like it could be red or blue, but it isn't. It's just this sort of uniform button grid.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a cave in here. You sit pretty low. The visibility out the front, I'll say, is it's hard to know where the wheels are. Because part of that nice shape that we get with this car is that drooping hood, but that also means I can't really see. There's no hump on the hood that tells me that's where the front wheels are, the way you get in other vehicles.
Yeah, if you're not like 6 feet tall, you pretty much don't see the hood at all from the driver's seat.
You do not, unless I want to raise my seat up like that. And speaking of the seat, The seat's comfortable, but there is no sport seat option. There's no aggressive track seat option. So I don't really have enough bolstering. And because this is the F1 edition car that, is a little bit aimed at people who want to take their Vantage to the track more often, or at least do more spirited driving, it would be nice if there was a kind of premium seat option.
It's actually kind of a good fat guy seat.
Yeah.
It feels like it is well designed for the more portly individual.
All right, so for the well-fed gentleman,
Yes.
will stay in place.
Someone who's eating Cornish game hens.
Right.
Very regularly. Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Oh, tumbleweed.
Acceleration is good, of course. Good torque, good power.
This one,
Downshifts are quick.
F1 edition gets the standard adaptive exhaust, which sounds aggro.
Yeah, it does. It sounds good. The shifts are so fast. I mean, there's really a very, very brief delivery in power, and then it's just on to the
You mean a
next
brief
one.
cut into the power delivery.
Yeah.
said-
Yeah.
you said
yeah.
a brief delivery
A brief
in power.
delay in power
Yeah.
delivery. No. Power is not a problem with this car.
No, I've always found in previous times having a go in the Vantage that the faster you go in the car and the more aggressively you use the gearbox, the less you worry about it being a torque converter. And it's really like in urban environments, when you leave it in auto, that it gets a little slushy. And it also has that really, really aggressive idle creep.
Yeah, when you lift off the brake sitting at a stoplight, and it's immediately jumping to like 3 miles per hour, creeping forward.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a function of a tall first gear or if that's a function of it's the other side of having a sporty torque converter, where if you make it engage, tight to have faster, more crisp shifts, the flip side of that is that you have an aggressive idle creep. Aggressive idle creep sounds like a metal band, doesn't it?
Here's the last things I'll say before I hand it over to you. The steering is nice and quick, and I can feel what the back tires are doing through the seat. This car is communicative, because one of their goals was to shave times off the Nürburgring time without just using sticky tires. Like that was the
This doesn't even have particularly sticky tires. They got
No.
regular P0s.
the directive from Tobais was we want to lose time, but you can't just use cheater tires. And so they stiffen everything a bit, and I think it has worked.
Yeah, we can just do it right here. No one's going up the hill. Everyone's going down the hill. Yeah.
Out the way.
We can go here. Okay, I'm going to go with my favorite settings, which is track, powertrain, soft shock. That's where I like to set my sports cars. And we're transitioning to, clear?
Yep.
To a smooth road. All right. I haven't driven this car at all today, so
Right.
let me get my bearings a second. I like the throttle response. That's my immediate takeaway here. Is it's a really good responsive pedal, but it's not making the car jump out ahead of it. Whoa, hey!
Ooh, yeah.
I forgot. It doesn't rain up here very often, and when it does, the roads can be slippery. It's a good thing we have courses. If they put a Nürburgring cheater tire on this thing,
Right.
we'd be all over the road right
Sport
now.
Cup 2 or something like that.
Brake feel for ceramics is nice.
I like it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. They've done a really good job refining the downshifts. Let's see, we'll go down to second. Oh, ooh, almost a little rear
wiggle,
lock up there, huh?
A little crack, yeah.
Yeah, it gives you one crack. It's not excessive burble. You get one crack on the downshift.
I like that.
Whoa, where was that truck going?
How's forward visibility for you?
For
As
me,
a
it's
tall-
fine. I don't have that much of a problem with it because I sit up high. My head is pretty close to the ceiling.
Yes, true.
But I have tried to put a helmet on this car, and I can do it. I mean, I like the proportions of it a lot. I like that it's this big motor, short wheelbase, kind of wide, low stance kind of thing.
Yeah. It's got a great presence on the road.
It does.
It really does. Parking lots, whatever.
And I like the matte white with the black accents. I just don't like the F1 badges, you know?
Yeah, matte white looks pretty cool, especially on a gray day like today. Ooh.
Yeah. This car always surprises me with the amount of trunk room it has.
Yeah.
It always fits a lot more stuff than I think it's going to.
And it has that shelf above the trunk, which can be very handy.
All right, so now I'm going to go out of track mode, and I put it back into sport, regular Sport Plus, but with super stiff suspension.
Okay.
Come on. You ever find that the buttons on this, you got to press a couple times to get them to do anything?
I have noticed that.
Why is that?
I don't know. Sometimes the electronic signal doesn't quite make it.
Something about the mode changing buttons on the steering wheel. I remember this with the other Vantages too. You have to press them like more than once. It's like not, considering their experience with buttons.
No, they have a lot of them, right?
Now the tunnel. This is important. This is an important test. Second gear. Second gear from 3. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
It's guttural.
It's very guttural.
It's super guttural. I really like that. I mean, it sounds muscle car-y.
It sounds AMG-ish.
Yeah.
Which is to be expected, which is a good thing. Those cars always sound great.
There was a little bit more motion in the body there than I really wanted, but we are in the stiffest mode, and I wouldn't go so far as to call it bounce. I would call it busy.
Or you're in the second stiffest mode, actually. You're in Sport Plus, not...
Oh,
I'm looking
Sport
at the
Plus
wrong one.
powertrain.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm in super stiff
My bad.
suspension. So I'm gonna go. I just hit the button, it doesn't do anything. So back to. Yeah. Just leave it in soft shock. Soft shock. It's not like it's like not sporty, you know.
Yeah, unless you're at a track, you really don't need those really aggressive settings. But if you go to a track, which you should if you have one of these, then crank it up.
I have no complaints about the gearbox once you're up and going. Once you're up and going, it's really very smooth, especially on the upshifts. Really smooth.
Yeah, very. How do you find the steering?
Sharp. Sharp. I like it. I mean, in general, I think they have done a nice job refining the product. You know, like it's this, I'm going to flip around. Oh. You know, this one is better than the Roadster I drove, which was better than the first car I drove. You know, like I did like the Roadster's tan interior a lot better. It made it like a much more pleasant place to spend my time.
Yeah.
This is really a cave.
Yes.
It really
is.
Really a cave. And my biggest issue with this car is the existence of the AMG GTC.
Yes, or even the GTR, which costs less than this.
Yeah, the GTR and this overlap in price depending on what options.
Yes.
That has a better power to weight ratio. It has fundamentally the same engine but tuned up hotter with the dual clutch gearbox, which is still better than this one.
It has the 10-mode traction control, which is cool.
And it's not like that particular Mercedes is a downgrade from an Aston Vantage.
No, and I think
still
the
an
interior
exotic car.
in that car is nicer looking than this one.
Yeah.
Because I think the modern interior, modern Mercedes interiors are beautiful.
And that car, because you sit so far over the back axle, it provides a truly unique driving experience, whereas this offers a good driving experience. It's really nice, but it's not that exotic to me. It's not an experience that is unavailable from any other car. You know what I mean? Whereas the GTC is totally unique still. And I've said this in every Vantage video.
Right. Well, it's unique because of that seating position.
Right.
So which can be
Which is just
interesting to get used to in the beginning. This also goes up against, like, 911 GTS is slightly cheaper than this.
Yeah,
this price
I'd probably have
is
that.
knocking on the door of a base turbo, but you don't want to buy a base
No.
of anything.
911 GTS comes with a manual, is lighter, has a little more finesse to it and a more refined ride. This you can't get with the manual anymore. They discontinued that. It's
Right.
automatic only now. I have to give them credit for moving the product in the right direction. This thing is going to apparently have a major redesign in 18 months. We'll see what happens there. But if you wanted an Aston Vantage, I would get this one.
Yeah, it drives great.
Yeah,
You know,
and it comes in a convertible as well if you want that. And you could probably have the badges taken off.
And, well, speaking of badges, what I like about this car is that unlike the 911 GTS, it's not as anonymous.
True.
Like the Aston Martin badge has a cachet to it where if you had an Aston Martin that was worth 80 grand and you parked it next to a 911 worth 140, most people would think the Aston costs more.
True.
Which is, so that
True.
is something that comes with it. It's unique. It does stand out.
Yeah. So thanks to Aston for letting us have a go. It's a quality product. They've
Yep.
really done a nice job refining it. Thanks to you guys for watching, and we'll see you later.
And remember, always fight your tickets. Use code TST10 on the Off the Record app available in the Android and iOS store, or go to offtherecord.com/TST.